Yep.
We're ready. Good morning. How are you, lovely people? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. Welcome to our third episode, I believe. Our third episode? Yes, our third episode.
No, it's our fourth already.
Is it? Oh my God, it's our fourth episode?
I have to put it a bit more.
Oh yeah, our fourth episode?
Yeah, we already had the power of setting and achieving goals.
Yeah.
The power of incantation, the power of thought.
Ah, that's what I meant.
Yay.
The power of incantation. Yeah. So today we had a request from a beautiful soul. She wanted us to talk about the power of the environment. And I think it all dovetails really well with what we've been covering before anyway, especially when we talk about the power of thought. I think the power of thought and the power of the environment are synonymous. They're kind of one and the same in a way because they're intrinsically connected. Would you agree?
Yes.
In a way. So yeah, so we're going to talk about the power of environment, the power of your environment, and what kind of impact that really does have. So let's kick off by going to a beautiful quote by my spiritual mentor, Amin Daya, which he wrote in his book, Parables from the Origin. And parables are just short stories from the origin. And the dedication in the book, I think, is really, really potent. So Anna, can you share what that dedication is?
The origin is light. Light brings life. Life brings experience. Experience brings knowledge. Knowledge brings light. Such is the cycle of life.
Wow, isn't that powerful? The origin is light, and light brings life, and life brings experiences, and experiences brings knowledge, and knowledge brings light. That is such is the circle of life. Really, really, really powerful. I think it's a great way to kick off to show that your environment does impact your entire life. Now, when you think of experiences, what are experiences? Well, that's our environment, you know. And I think also when we said the quote about, when we're talking about the power of thought, I read the quote about the mind. You know, we talk about the mind is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought, shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, but his environment is his looking glass. So even though we're creating thoughts in our head, we see the physical thought manifest in our environment. So we are the product of our thinking. We are the product of our environment. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things that, in terms of we talk about that maybe influence our environment? What are the factors that may influence our environment?
Yeah, I also realized, hold that thought. I also realized that our phones are showing. So I wanted to actually let you guys know that we also have a group on Facebook where you can find more than just these videos, because obviously we go live on our main page, and now I'm watching it actually in our group. So if you look on Facebook for empowerment and personal development, that's our Facebook group where Tosin goes live every single day. So he sometimes elaborates a bit more on these topics, or he chooses like a phrase of the day. Usually it's connected with the topic that we are talking during the week. So make sure you join. I will actually be posting the link to the group on this video as well.
Absolutely.
And back to what you asked.
Yeah. So and if you're watching live as normal, please like, share, reach more people. Share this video right now if you're watching live, because we want to impact people by just sharing our own little experiences, you know. And I think if we could help one people, or if we could help you, then our job is done. So help us to reach more people. Join our empowerment and personal development group. I do a phrase of the day every day, so thank you for that reminder. And yeah, share, like it. If you're watching the replay as well, make comments, ask us questions, and let us know what you like us to talk about as well, because we're talking about the power of blank, the power of you filling the blank. I mean, we can, but it would be nice to hear some of your topics as well. We've got a series of topics that we want to talk about, but you might have a series of topics.
And also, you know, share your views on the topic, because obviously we are just sharing our experience and our how we see it from what we have learned over the years. So, you know, your point of view might be different, and it might be nice to learn how you see these things and how you think about them.
Absolutely. It's a learning all around. So we are also learning. By sharing, we're learning at the same time, because I always say something, whenever you're speaking, who's listening? your unconscious mind. So you're also listening to yourself as well. Yeah, so back on the topic, I was talking about the factors that affect or influence us or influence our environment. Well, what are some of them? I mean, we talked a bit about them together at breakfast. Like,
I think it's very important to actually talk about what is the environment, because
yes,
we can all imagine something different, because obviously these days it's like a hot topic, like environment, as in protecting the nature, being environment friendly, etc. But I think what we want to focus more, and I'm sure we will touch on the subject of environment as the nature, but what we want to focus more on today is like the people around you, the groups that you are part of, the people who influence you and have impact on who you are and who you become and which way you go in life.
Yeah, and I think, but I believe, Anna, what you're trying to say, that they're not separate from those other physical environments as well, because the environment is also your living space, your workspace, where you conduct business, where you play, where you recreate, where you go up to recharge your batteries, whether it's nature, whether it's swimming, whether it's playing golf or playing football. All of these are part of your environment. So when I look at nature, I look at things like earth, air, fire, water, and space. So that's really our environment. We live in this environment, and we can see nature always works in harmony with itself all the time. And therefore, when you look at nature, sometimes you and I, we think we're separate from nature, but we're not. So if we say the nature is 72% water, actually you and I are 72% water, even though we're a small element, whereas nature is a vast amount of water, but us as a small being, in our entire body, the bloodstream that flows through us and the liquids through us is 72% water as well. And then we talk about earth, which is 12% in nature. Well, what's earth? Your skin, your whole entire skin is earth, is 12% of your body. And then we look at air that we breathe out there. Air is 6% in nature. There's also 6% of air within us as well. And we look at, what else? Yeah, we look at the space that we're in, and we look at fire, there's 4% fire, within us. And then there's also space, we look at 6% space. That's what makes up the whole of nature. And where am I getting to? What I'm trying to say here is, this is why our environment is really impactful on us, because we're just a mini cosmos of the universe. We're just a mini version of the universe. So there is this vast universe that all of our little tiny minds are just a big universal mind of that. So you can see, when we go to the people you're talking about now, you can see why people that are in your immediate environment have a direct impact on the results that you're achieving every single day. Really, really powerful. And on reflection, when we look back, let's say, okay, how was the environment at home, you growing up? How did that influence you? And what decisions did you make as a person moving forward?
Yeah, I think naturally, we are influenced by our immediate family where we grew up in, and it's up to us to judge whether that's the environment we want to stay in, whether we are fine with it or we are not fine with that. And we have to make a decision, if we are not fine with that, what do we want to do with it? Because it's very easy to just moan and just stay where you are and not make any changes. And nothing will change that way, of course. And if you don't like it,
change it.
You just have to move. Well, there's the thing about the dog sitting on the nail, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You want to tell the story?
Yes, absolutely. There's a story about a dog. He sat on a nail and he keeps howling. And the owner is sitting next to it, is there. And people keep walking by him. And then a stranger just went by and said, "What's wrong with your dog? Attend to your dog." That's right. And the guy was like, "No, the dog is fine. The dog is just sitting on a nail." I said, "The dog sitting on a nail? Why is it sitting on a nail?" He said, "It's comfortable. When it becomes uncomfortable, it will get up." And that's often sometimes how we treat our environment, And for me, I can remember reflecting back the first time we came to the UK. And I remember vividly making a conscious decision as a 19-year-old, because what I quickly learned and looked around was people in my culture and people in Asian culture, I saw them, they had migrated to different areas of the UK. So if you look at Peckham, Streatham, Brixton, predominantly Africans. And if you go to Peckham Rye Market, predominantly African style market, where they have the open market, selling out goods and stuff, that made our people very comfortable. They love it. It's what they know, it's what they used to do back home. It's a bit like they've recreated their world, you know, back in the UK. And then if you go to other places like Appleton, Greenford, Acton, you see it's migrated. A lot of Asians are there, you know, and then again, you go to the market, it's lots of Asian food, lots of Asian environment that they've created to make themselves feel comfortable in it. And I had to make a choice. I had to start myself, hold on a minute. I know my culture. I understand my culture, but I don't want this environment. I want to learn about the Western culture. I want to know about the English people, the European people. I want to understand their world. So it was a conscious decision to literally change my environment so that I could be here. Because again, I was also sick and tired of people over here complaining, moaning about their circumstances, their situations. Don't get me wrong. I was part of that culture of complaining and moaning until I stepped out of it. Does that make sense?
I think most of us are part of that culture.
Of course.
It's not just for Africans, it's everywhere.
Because you're a product of your environment. And that's what we're talking about here. That's how impactful the environment is. And until you consciously change it, nothing changes. Yeah. And they said there's three things. You know, one of it is you could stay in the environment and try to change yourself. I try that. It's hard. Trust me. It's a long, hard process. Or you could try to change the environment, but stay the same. Now, that's slightly easier, but it's still a long process because you still haven't physically made a conscious decision to change yourself. But the easiest thing to do is to change your environment and to change yourself.
Amen.
Hallelujah. And I think that's one of the easiest things to do, to change your environment. I mean, any memories of how you made change in your?
Well, for me, it was like just leaving my family home as soon as I could, you know, just. Yeah, but I think, you know, it's very important to have the environment aligned with the goals you have. So that's coming back to the setting and achieving goals. Because if you have certain goals and your environment is not supporting you in that, you just won't achieve them. And that's, I mean, your environment as in where you live, the people you meet up with. Because if you have a lot of like negative people around you, you know, you will just end up just complaining and feeling sorry for yourself, and nothing, you won't make things happen. So you have to be very aware. Well, like with anything, the first step is awareness, and being aware if the environment you are in is suits you and is fine for you. And you know, if you are content where you are, if you are content with being negative, complaining, feeling sorry for yourself, by all means stay there and enjoy yourself.
Absolutely, I agree. I think you're talking about the crab mentality here, aren't you? Yeah, because what it means is sometimes you're in an environment of friends and you see a new way out, or you see a way of growing and bettering yourself. And because you're always in this environment with this group of friends, but all of a sudden you're on this course, you're on this trail, you're on this path of improving yourself and growing, you unconsciously create a void for these people because they now miss your presence. And if you ask most of your friends, if you put them under like a lie detector, they will say they miss you and they want you around, which is the truth, by the way. They want you around and blah, blah, blah. But here's the kicker. The minute you start to shift and change and move, and they're not following that, it could be friends, it could be a partner, it could be, because if you're not growing together as well, then you're growing apart, you know? So if you're not growing together and working things out with your partner, then you're growing apart. But it could also be friends, because one person's going in this direction, one person wants to go in the other direction. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if it's a mutual decision that you both made and you support each other in getting to where, and you're fine with, and you support each other in getting where you want to get to. I'm not saying you have to be, oh, you have to do the same thing together. That's not what I'm saying. But what we're saying here is, what would then tend to happen is unconsciously, those friends now, the gap you've left, they have to fill it. They have to adjust themselves to change. Most people don't like to be forced to change. And because they don't like to be forced to change, there can be seen to be negative about you moving on. It's not that they're not negative about it. They're just thinking, how is this gap going to be filled?
Yeah, they start panicking, so they start pulling you
so
back.
they start pulling you down. So that's the crab mentality. They start to pull you back down and say, no, we want you back here. Come back here. Stay in this environment. Stay here. Everything was okay.
But we didn't really like give them the picture of the crab mentality, what we are talking about. So there is a thing about crabs in a bucket, you know, whether it's true or not, but that's the metaphor that we are using here. So if you put crabs in a bucket, like you collect crabs on the beach, you put them in a bucket, and then one of them starts coming out, rather than the other ones thinking, oh, there's a way out, they actually start pulling him back down.
Yeah,
So
because
that's what we are talking
yeah,
about.
because they also want to climb up, but in the process of everybody hanging onto this crab, they pull the crab back into the bucket. So yeah, so friends unknowingly, unconsciously drag us back down. So you have to be consciously make that effort to cut ties. And when I say cut ties, it might sound like a horrible word. Sometimes you got to change your environment. You know, look at winter. Autumn comes and all the leaves go brown and they drop off completely. And it's like, whoa, the trees are completely bare. What happens? The tree is confident that by dropping all the dead leaves, it can grow new ones in the spring. You see? So if it doesn't drop dead leaves, fine. So we as human beings, we need to look at our environment every day and to ask ourselves, who are the dead leaves in our lives? Who are the friends that are no longer serving us anymore? Who are the people that we shouldn't associate with anymore? And who are the people that we should be associating with, you know, that will edify us, encourage us, help us achieve our goal? Because sometimes, I'm telling you now, you have so many negative naysayers and negative friends around you, and you keep them around just to not ruffle their feathers or not to feel, for them to make you feel pompous or insignificant or whatever, or not to feel insecure around you. But that's the wrong thing to do. By you doing that, you're not helping them and they're not helping you. So you're both a product of your environment. So in order for you to grow and to move, sometimes you got to let go of the dead leaves. You got to cut them off. You got to cut some friends loose. And I don't mean do it in a malicious or a bad way. People just drift. So there are friends that I know, you know, nothing in common anymore. We just drift. Nothing was said, we just drift. But it doesn't mean that, oh, if we bump into each other, I want to, hey, long time no speak, how are you? We'll catch up. But it just means that we just drift apart, you know, and time, and then we just move on. And you start doing something else because that's important for you, you know? Yeah. And if you meet, oh, hi, how are you? How are you doing? Are you okay? That's great. Oh, fantastic. See you later. Off you go. But now you've moved on anyway. Either you're in a different city, in a different country, in a different environment, it doesn't matter. But that's what happens. Now, there's a few sayings that I want to touch on before we kind of maybe even begin to wrap up here. But, oh yeah, the other thing that also has a big influence on your environment, and I want you to touch on this, is clutter, hoarders.
Yeah.
Do you want to share some light on that? About Maria, whatever. No, I don't know what her name is.
Yeah, it's very important, you know, because if you want, they say that you can put a table where there is already one.
Absolutely.
As in, you can't be looking to replace something when there's something in the space.
In the same space, yeah.
So
create the space.
Yeah, you know, and you can use it in many areas of your life. So you might be probably familiar with Marie Kondo. She says, what doesn't bring you joy, it's time for it to go. But do it, like Justin was saying, do it in a good manner, you know, and whether it's a person or whether it's a thing, you know, thank them for the purpose that it served till now.
Correct.
Whether it's a cloth or piece of clothes, whether it's a table, whether it's a friend, whether it's your partner. Served me till now. Time to go.
Thank you so much. You served me so well. I appreciate you so much.
Because there is a reason why they have been there till now.
Yeah.
Or why it has been there till now, you know. But if it doesn't bring you joy anymore, well, I would say with the partners at least, you know, like give them a chance. But if it's an old clothes, you know, just thank them and let go.
And let go. Most people find out hard to do. You know, one thing we've encouraged them to do is, you know, every now and again, I would say, we'll look around and say, okay, if I haven't used that clothes for 6 months, it has to go.
Yeah.
If I haven't worn that pair of shoes for 6 months, it has to go. Why keep it when it could benefit somebody else? You know, think about it. Hoarding. They say when you declutter your mind. So think about that for a minute. So if your space, if their work environment that you're in is always cluttered and it's always a mess, then think about the state of your mind as well. And then think about what quality kind of thoughts are you thinking and what are you producing from that. So that's another big thing. So always also go out to nature, go out to nature, go for walks, create environment. Because remember, environment is what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you smell, and the things, the quality of the thought that you're having in your brain. And you can't have, if you're down and you're depressed, no good decision or good action will come out of that. So get out into nature. As soon as you walk in nature, there's water, there's peace.
But
peace.
Not only nature, just the change of environment, whether it's like think where you change environment for forever, or whether it's like a temporary thing, because naturally when we spend the day somewhere, whether it's an office or whether it's at home, you have certain anchors which are not allowing you to think outside the box.
Correct.
So it's very important, to like step out, which will give you a good perspective about things, and you will be able to see things which you might not have seen before.
Or change the environment that you're in within your household, like we normally do. Yeah.
I also want to.
Correct.
Yes. So you either need to step out, or when you're in some environment, also change the environment around, because if you see that, I don't know, simple example, you have a work desk, you have your chair there, but you don't seem productive, you don't feel productive, you are not getting ideas, you are not getting things done. Well, if it keeps going for a while, then you already have that anchor around that place. So try to shift it, because you might be not sitting in the right energetic place, you might not be fine with the view, you might not be fine with the stuff that is behind you. So the simple thing is just change it around. And
that's Feng Shui, by the way.
Yeah.
Most Feng Shui, dowsing and Feng Shui, it's about decluttering and clearing energy in the home. So sometimes we can move things around. I would just come home and my wife has turned the living room around, like everything's changed. Like, what's happening here? And that's good to do now and again. We also do others where we both swap side of the bed every now and again. We usually do it every month or so, we swap around. So I'm sleeping on this side, and then we swap around, and it's good for that, so that you don't get so anchored to one thing. So little things that you could do, changing up your environment, because the environment that you create around you is really important to the quality of your thought and your thinking, and then therefore the stuff that you produce.
Yeah, if you feel like it's not allowing you to think, then definitely make changes. Whether it's a thing, whether it's the way the things are set up, or whether those are the people around you.
Yeah, so we talked about family, home, but also a big thing is media. Right? Would you agree? Media influence you.
Especially social media these days. That's like a big
social media. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, just be careful what you watch, because whatever you watch, whatever you listen to, it comes, even if it comes like subconsciously, it stores, and it
manifests itself. Yeah, impacts you big time. It influences your decision making.
If you just keep watching news and things where, I don't know, people are getting killed and whatever, well, it'll just make you depressed, so rather watch some comedies, or just like really choose what you input into. Well, that would be a power of thought, but what you feed your mind
based on your environment. That's why I talk about people that visit nature a lot, people that have their vision board or dream board. That's what they focus on, that's what they visualize. So even in moments of stress, they go to the happy place, like Happy Gilmore. They go to that place of visualizing, okay, work is stressful, it's not so bad, but I'm going away in May, but I'm going away in October, but I'm going away in December. So they look forward to something different as opposed to the stress. I think Joe Dispenza puts it beautifully. He says, and I've mentioned this before, you got to think higher, because those people that look at their environment and let the environment dictate how they should think, how they should feel, and what they should do are the ones that keep repeating stuff and become addicted to negative emotions in their environment. Now, we can look at your environment, but you got to look at where you're going. So you got to think greater than your environment, greater than what you're going through, to actually create a different scenario. And that's not so easy to do for most people. And this is what we need to do. So that's a big deal. So the media, TV, social media, what you hear, the radio, listen to positive talk. Some people just listen to LBC radio, or some people might listen to autobiographies, or watch YouTube and just watch personal development stuff and how to do stuff. And that's great, because you're engaging your mind, you're learning something, not creating an environment where you're just watching reality TV shows or people that are
But by
fighting
all
and
means,
kicking each other.
if that's what you enjoy, and that's that aligns with your goals, that aligns with your values and your beliefs, just stick that.
Then stick with it, it's up to you. But here are a few phrases, like what we're saying. We're not subscribing to anything to anyone. We're just saying what has worked for us. It may not necessarily work for you in your environment, but test it out, try it out, play with it, see if it works. If it doesn't, drop it. We're not attached to that. We're just sharing those experiences with you. Here are a few phrases that I hear often that people say. Things like, your network equals your net worth. We've all heard that before. Again, it's because we're a product of our environment. Another one, birds of a feather flock together. Again, we've heard that. Friends hang around, they do the same thing, they earn the same kind of salary, blah, 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 blah. As a matter of fact, they said, you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang around with.
Yeah, I think it's like the environment again, because we're talking about environment from environment as in nature, environment in the house, environment as in our families, our
in
friends.
all aspects.
But it's where also, where you strive with your career, have people that you can learn from, have people who can be your mentors, your coaches, and at the same time, as you are receiving the knowledge from someone, have people you can share
it with and bring up, like what we're doing here. Like now, we have mentors in all these different areas that have helped us, elevated us. So therefore, we have to do our bit by sharing some of those knowledges for people that might be coming behind us. Because the whole idea, I love this phrase that says, when you have been blessed, remember to bring the elevator down to bring other people back up. And I think that's really beautiful. It sums it up really beautifully. Another one is 6 degrees of separation. I'm sure you've heard some of this, which means that, Anna knows 6 people. And because I know Anna, I know out of those 6 people, we know every single person on planet Earth, including you that are watching, that I've never met.
It means like we are all
we're all connected somehow. So therefore, I was talking to my friend the other day, my golfer friend, Elton, and we're having a conversation, and he says, well, I know the president of Thailand. So that means you know the president of Thailand. I'm like, yeah, exactly. If I needed a connection, I would. I'm like, well, I know this person that you don't know, and now you know him. Because if you need a connection, I can get you a connection. Basically, so 6 degrees of separation.
It means that you know someone who knows someone.
So you know 6 people who know someone who knows someone who knows everybody in the world. Yeah. So we're not far away from each other. Just see the question when people go, I need a favor, and they ask their LinkedIn members, I need somebody who's in this, and they go, I know someone in that department, boom, and they make the connection for you.
Breakfast for business, right?
Exactly, BNI, same thing. We're always making connections all the time, because that works. So we can see that we're a product of our environment. Those phrases we use just prove the fact that we're all a product of our environment. And I hope that's hitting home. So we talked enough about all the negative aspects. Let's look at solutions. What can people do? What can people start to do that will be practical for them to help them to really shift their focus from all this negativity that they're creating, to start creating something more positive in their environment?
Well, I think one of the things, and that's something that we mentioned before, is the anchoring thoughts.
Yes.
I believe we mentioned that probably with incantation and probably with the power of thoughts.
I think we did, anchor thoughts. Yeah. So because it's about your being on a daily basis. So we can anchor thoughts. Now, there are various ways of doing it, but I like this one better. You could design your day. The night before, you could say, how do I want my day to look tomorrow? You could literally design your day and consciously design your day, and then let it go, and then trust the environment to bring those circumstances, situations to you in a way that you yourself, you'll be like, wow, that you'll be in awe, that you have no idea. That's one way. But anchor thought for me is really powerful in the morning, because you can pick any words you like. So I always have some general ones, but depending on what's happening, I pick some extras. So normally I would do gratitude in the morning. I want to anchor myself to gratitude. Then I want to anchor myself to peace. And I want to anchor myself to clarity. Then the one that I choose, depending on what I'm looking for, will be abundance, or sometimes like now I'm recovering. So I say healing. I anchor myself to healing. And also I'm dealing with other stuff because I'm doing some study on a completely new subject. So I do knowledge. So I anchor myself to knowledge for that particular day. But it could be random words. So it could be happiness, love, forgiveness, joy, abundance, certainty, fearless, whatever the word is for that day that comes to you. The word is you can choose, and it's a really simple technique. We're going to share a link where my spiritual mentor, Amin Dai, goes into more details about the flow of thoughts and then anchor thoughts as well. That's a combination of both. But how I use it and how he describes to use it is pretty simple. Now, I'll give you the version. You can do this, or you can. I'll give you even a simpler version of it. So it's like we sit up like this, sitting up nice and easy. You sit somewhere, you can plant your feet, or you can sit on the ground in a meditative stance if you want. You sit and you kind of close your eyes and you just focus on your breathing. Focus on your breathing as you breathe in and out, and allow yourself to just completely relax. And allow your thoughts to flow without judging it, without trying to stop it. Just allow it to come and go. And eventually you get to this space of stillness. And you can even say to yourself, stillness, stillness, stillness. And you become really quiet and still. And then you can say silence, silence. Just for a couple of minutes, this process. But it's all the way of just quieting your mind down and allowing you to calm down. So by this point, you already know which words you want to anchor yourself to. So I'm going to use the one and the three that I normally use as a good example for you. So it'll just be gratitude, peace, and clarity. That's what I want to anchor myself to this morning. So once I'm in that space of relaxation, stillness, and silence, then I always try to imagine I'm in a cinema, and in that cinema room, I'm sitting right in the middle, and it's all dark, pitch black in there, no light, but the big white screen is in front of me. And on that screen, I see the word gratitude. So you say the word 3 times, so it to be gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And then we anchor ourselves here by saying, I am gratitude, or I am grateful, whatever word you want to choose. So I am gratitude, I am gratitude, I am gratitude, 3 times. And then I go to we are, because I also involve my family at the university. So I say, we are grateful, we are grateful, we are grateful, 3 times. And then what he says you do is you have to imagine this. I physically do it sometimes when I'm sitting in the morning. Imagine your hand. You can imagine your hand. Sorry, Anna. You imagine your hand spread out wide like this, open arm, because this is important for the flow now, the art of flow. So it's like you imagine gratitude flowing to you through your left hand. So you'd be like, gratitude flowing to your left hand, and you imagine gratitude flowing through your whole entire being. And then you imagine gratitude flowing from you, out of you, through your right hand. So I'll say it again, and I'll do it all in one go. You see the word on the screen, gratitude. And I repeat the word 3 times in my mind, but I'm saying it out loud for your benefit. So it'd be gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I am gratitude, I am gratitude, I am gratitude. We are gratitude, we are gratitude, we are gratitude. Gratitude flows to me, gratitude flows through me, gratitude flows from me. I am surrounded by gratitude today. I am showered in gratitude today. I am anchored in gratitude today. I am flowing in gratitude today. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. That's it. I've anchored myself. You see, I'm like an anchor. If you think about an anchor like a boat, you are like an anchor. You anchored that thought to yourself. So throughout my day, that's what it's going to be. So what this flow is about, whatever you receive with your left hand that flows through you must also be giving away. So therefore, in my day, I should also be a source of gratitude to other people, and people will also be a source of gratitude to me, and that will flow constantly through my day. Really powerful way of being. Rather than be succumbing to what the environment is every single day, I'm anchoring myself to the way I want my day to be. And then you choose the next word, and the next one is peace. And the same thing, peace, peace. You see the word on the screen, peace, peace, peace. I am peace, I am peace, or I am peaceful. Whatever word you want to choose, I am peace. We are peace, we are peace, we are peace. Peace flows to me, peace flows through me, peace flows from me. I am surrounded by peace today. I am anchored in peace today. I am showered by peace today. I am flowing in peace, 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 peace. And there you have it. And the word could be anything. It's just a simple technique. But like I said, for more details, when you go to the link that we're going to send you, you'll be able to understand the anchor thought in detail and also the flow in detail. The flow is really important because whatever we're seeking, whether it's abundance or whatever it is, we also got to be a source of that. Would you agree?
Yes.
We also, I'm looking for love. Well, I've got to be a source of love. If I want love, I've got to give love so I can receive love. Whatever you're seeking, everybody says, you want more money, give more money. You want to be more wealthy, think more wealthy thoughts, educate more people in wealth. Guess what? Your wealth will also grow. So every anchor thought, that's why I find this really beautiful. If you're doing that, you're almost now deliberately and consciously being a part of creating your day. You see what I mean? And your environment will succumb with, yes, because your thought processes is impacting your environment. It's a positive anchor thought. That's why it's called a positive anchor thought. You can pick 3, 4, 5, 10 every day. It's up to you. How do you want to feel? When I'm down, I'm not feeling well, I know I need healing. So I focus on healing. So healing would be an anchor that I anchor myself to. Like I said, Saturday, I caught a virus. Sunday, I was out like a light, couldn't do anything. By Monday, I was feeling a little bit okay. By Tuesday, all the fever, my body was gone, because of the anchor thoughts. I don't allow sickness anytime, to dwell too much in my body. And everyone, it's not just me. We all have this ability. It's not just me. Everybody has it, but it's about practicing it daily and utilizing it. So anchor thought is a good way of focusing on your environment. Another solution I find is association and dissociation. This is a really powerful thing. We as creatures, we're emotional creatures. We usually attach ourselves or associate ourselves to negative things in our environment. That's why we love gossip. That's why we love something going wrong for somebody. We want to hear somebody's down. As much as we don't want to hear it, we're like, ooh, so-and-so is going on. Ooh. Immediately, we're perked up for it, and we shouldn't be.
But isn't it something that it's engraved in us?
It's an innate ability, but it's something that we have to consciously repel. Consciously repel and go, no. And we often say that when we talk to families, and families just want to gossip, and they're like, no, stop. If you're talking about yourself or you're talking about me, great. But let's not talk about other people. And one of the other reasons is because the other person is not there to defend themselves. And I think it was Stephen Covey that says, be loyal to the absent. I love the phrase, be loyal to the absent. So we are very good at associating to all the negative stuff in our lives and moaning and complaining. And we're very good at dissociating all the good stuff. Yes. Now we've got that wired in the wrong way, in my opinion. So what I think we should be doing is we should be detached and dissociate from all the negative stuff. And we should be more associated to all the good stuff, the love making, the joy, the fun, the holidays, all the things that makes us feel good. And I think that way, that will also help shift our thinking very, very, very quickly. So association and dissociation, great, great technique. And then the last thing, obviously, which I said was about change your environment, change you. Remember, you can't just change the environment in itself, change you. I know when we were talking this morning and reflecting on the topic, we can see both our past growing up, the environment we were in, and how we've consciously or unconsciously changed environments unknowingly that have led us to where we are now. Yeah. And I guess if you guys on reflection, reflect on your lives as well, you will see where your environment has impacted you as well, and how you made those changes.
Environment different.
And how is your environment different from
where you were before?
Absolutely. Or is it still the same?
Yeah.
In some cases. Has your environment changed from when you were growing up to where you are now? And if it's changed, what has changed and why did it change? It'd be interesting for you guys to have a reflection on it. But please be under no illusion at all. Be very, very clear. Your environment impacts you in ways that you are not aware of, whether you're conscious of it or unconscious of it. It really does.
Yeah, and sometimes, when things are like not happening, not working for you, you have to, that's one of the attributes in your life that you have to consider, like whether it's time to change the environment, and whether it's time to change the environment as in people around you, or just like physically move from the environment
From
where
the
you are.
environment that you're in.
Whether it can be change of job, it can be moving houses, it can be moving countries, it can be getting married,
All
getting
sorts.
divorced,
All sorts. Yeah, all sorts. It's about paying attention, which is why I said, and I think I mentioned it when we did the first episode. I talked about, for me and my wife anyway, 3 things. It's about awareness, acknowledgement, and acceptance this year. And I think everybody would do well if they were to focus on those 3 things, because number one, you can't change anything if you're not aware of it. And if you don't acknowledge your own feelings, yourself and how you're feeling, if you don't express that, then nothing's going to change either. But also, bigger than everything is also accepting your own responsibility and owning your own shit. As my wife gave me a beautiful quote yesterday, it's like, own your own shit. Because when you own your own shit, you grow from it. It can lead to your own greatness.
For future greatness.
Yeah, it's manure for future greatness. Absolutely. We often shy away from it, but actually there's nothing we should shy away from. We should really own it and take responsibility. Sometimes, you know what, we're wrong. And sometimes shit is shit, just accept it and just deal with it. But
don't deal with other people's shit, okay?
No,
you might get buried in that.
This is funny. This is not related, but this is quite funny. But based on the fact that you just said what you said, this is what it was from Sadhu Guru, a beautiful mystic from India. It's on YouTube, and this is one of the videos. He was saying there was a cow, okay, and there was a bird, and the bird was on the cow, and then the bird was saying to the cow, "You know what? I can't fly to the top of that tree because my wings are weak." Yeah, and the cow said, "No. Let me tell you something. You eat my shit, you'll be strong. You'll be able to fly." But really, nonsense. I'm telling you, eat my shit, and you'll be able to get up there. All right. So I'll try it. He started eating his shit. He started growing. It's like, oh, right, eating his shit. Started growing. Like, oh my God, this is working. I told you, eating more of his shit. And this bird grew so big, and then the bird went flapping to the top of it. He goes, "Hey, cow, look, I'm at the top." He says, "I told you, if you eat my shit, you get to the top." And an unsuspecting farmer sees this big, juicy bird on a tree, cocks his gun and goes, poof, and shoots the bird down, and the bird falls, boom. And Sadhguru said, the moral of the story is, bullshit can get you to the top, but it won't keep you there. So I think on that note, it's a great time to kind of wrap up this session. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've had fun doing it. And thank you for whoever chose the topic. The power of the environment is a really important topic. It's not something that we can ignore. We have to really focus on it. And so, guys, I hope we've given you enough food for thought here, and also not just problem, but also practical solutions that you can adopt every day that will make a big difference. Any last words before I give them a final phrase?
Well, probably the 3 things what would be the 3 takeaways? 1, 2, 3. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Well, number 1, do your anchor thoughts every day, because they will help you to get you to where you want to be. And whether it's like in terms of the thoughts that drive you, and also helping you to be in the right environment. You can also create your own micro environment within the environment where you are, if you can't change it.
Exactly. So I would say, first and foremost, like Anna said this already, if the environment you're in right now is conducive to your learning, it's great, it's fruitful, it's edifying, it's encouraging, it's phenomenal. You don't need to change anything, okay? But we're just talking about if the environment that you're in and that you've created unconsciously or consciously for yourself is not conducive to your growth or your learning, then it's time to rethink that. It's time to either have honest dialogue with your other half or people in your environment to see whether you can change it or not. So my second point would be association and dissociation. Associate to all the good thing, dissociate from all the crappy, shitty stuff in your life. And finally, as a third point, would be change your environment, change yourself. Okay, you can't just change your environment on its own, change yourself. And with that said, we'd like to say thank you so much for listening. And if you're watching a replay, again, please do like, do share, do comment as well. We'd love to read some of your comments and let us reach more people, share with other people as well.
I would actually like to, it was Elizabeth that suggested the topic, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, Elizabeth. So that's it.
So
Elizabeth, thank you, Elizabeth. We enjoyed the topic. Thank you very much for choosing it. And as we always said, the mind is like a parachute. It only functions when it's
open. So open your mind today.
So open your mind today. We'll see you next week for another power of something. Take care. God bless.
Take care,
Namaste.
bye.